people said my family was cursed. Mom tried to protect us with God. Pop tried to protect us with wrestling. He said if we were the toughest, the strongest, nothing could ever hurt us. I believed him. We all did.
Morning.
Pants tomorrow, please, David.
Carrie, I want you to join your brothers in the ring.
Yes, sir. I love that.
Now, we all know Carrie's my favorite, then Kev, then David, then Mike. But the rankings can always change.
What do you want in life, Kevin Von Erich?
More ribs?
I want to be with my family. You know, be with my brothers.
What do you like to do with your brothers?
Together, we can do anything.
Island Man, your Island Man, coming to you live once again from beautiful Hawaii here on the island of Oahu, bringing you, yes you, the best movie reviews on the entire island of Oahu. And yes, this is Trinidad, the Island Man, your Island Man. And first off, Merry Christmas. It is Christmas Day, and well, being alone here on the islands, I finished my work for today and went ahead and decided to go see a movie since the movie theaters are open. So get out there and support your local movie theater. And I went ahead and I saw a movie that had opened up this week, The Iron Claw. Now, I had heard some things about this when it kind of was playing at some smaller theaters or people who had been able to see it earlier. And everyone says that, Zac Efron in it was phenomenal. And I said, well, I got to see this for myself. And, being a child of the 70s, I had a great fondness from my father watching, on TV, and even going to some of the live wrestling events. I lived in a small town in Colorado, an hour or two away from Denver, and every once in a blue moon, my father would take me to Denver, to the stadium. I think it was McNichols. I don't know at the time. It's no longer there in Denver. McNichols, as it was, doesn't exist, and if it does now, still after being rebuilt, it probably isn't called McNichols anymore. Just like Mile High Stadium isn't Mile High Stadium, or in the Mile High Stadium that I grew up with. But I digress. We would go ahead and see wrestling, and it was like I want to say it was the WWF. I think it was from Minnesota. It would play on Sundays. I think Sunday morning, Sunday afternoons. It was actually, I think it was called All Star Wrestling, and I would go ahead and I would watch that. Learn like Greg Gagne and the Flying Gagne brothers, Nick Bockwinkel. None of the big names of nowadays or even of the 80s. This is, the small independent wrestling shows, that went on through the country. And, this is a movie, The Iron Claw, is a movie about one of these small wrestling families. Very much sort of kind of like The Rock, and his father who had taught him wrestling, kind of keeping it all in the family. A group of brothers, 4 brothers. We find out 5 brothers, but one had died as a child. That all got into wrestling. 3 pretty much right away from the persistence of their father. As he was a wrestler after failing at professional football. Sounds kind of familiar if you follow some of the stories of The Rock, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. So essentially, he pushes his kids into wrestling to go for the world champion belt that was denied him so many times during his wrestling career. And basically, tragedy besets these four brothers, or five brothers, I guess, overall, as these Von Erichs eventually succumb to the abuse, not only the physical abuse, but the mental abuse of an over-demanding father, wishing to achieve something through his sons that he himself failed to in his own life. And at each step, denying them their own personal happiness or their own lives, only to pursue his own dreams, the father's dreams, of winning the belt and becoming the world wrestling champion. All so that he can say that it's like, oh, well, at least I may not have got the belt during my wrestling career, but it is in our family. And it is that drive, that push of determination that he instills and essentially grinds his sons to death in pursuit of this, of his own personal goal. Only one brother survives, Kevin Von Erichsen, played by Zac Efron. Spoilers, I guess. But if you see the trailers or know anything about these brothers, their fate is summed up in the community, the wrestling community, as the Von Erichsen's curse. That the family is cursed to befall terrible fates. One commits suicide. One brother had a terrible injury that he tried apparently, to ignore because growing up, his father taught him that, to be a man, to be especially in wrestling, is to show no pain, no fear, no sadness, to be stoic. And thus when he was injured and attempting to wrestle through that, he simply thought it would pass and failed to go see a doctor. And his injury killed him, as it turned out to be a ruptured intestine. And I suppose internal bleeding, what have you, destroys him. And I said, like suicide for another brother. The youngest of the brothers attempts, although he's not physically inclined to move into wrestling after the death of the one with the ruptured intestine, he tries being pushed by his father into the ring, where he suffers a shoulder injury, and unfortunately during the surgery he goes into a coma, and when he awakens, he's suffered some type of brain damage, and thus he decides to overdose rather than live as the declined individual that he was, and unable to pursue his own passions of music that he had previously done before being pushed into wrestling, like his other older brothers. Only with the help of of his wife and newborn children does Zac Efron's Kevin Von Erickson escape and come to realize the torment and the pain, that the pressure that his father put on him and the rest of the family was the actual curse to him and his brothers, and that if he did not leave that life and his father, such a fate would befall him, and fearing for his own sons, he decides to cut off things. But again, thanks to the strength of his wife supporting him through that, he's able to do so. Seems that this is a very emotional movie, a very moving movie. If you like sport movies, if you liked wrestling, you'll love this show, this movie. I forgot to give you our rating scale. Shaka thumbs up, it's good to see, I recommend it. Shaka thumbs down, it's junk. Well, as you can tell, it is a strong Shaka thumbs up for The Iron Claw. Definitely go ahead and see it wherever, however you can. This, I feel, is the strongest nomination, recommendation that the Academy Awards will look at in 2024. And as crazy as it sounds, Zac Efron is a shoo-in to get nominated, if not win, Best Actor for his portrayal of Kevin Von Erickson in this. His performance is so good. Let's not even discuss or talk about the physical transformation that he looks beyond anything Zac Efron has ever looked in his life, even when he was bulked up as much for his role in Baywatch. I swear, if they do a live-action He-Man movie, Zac Efron, based on what he looks like as Kevin Von Erickson, he would be a shoo-in for the role of He-Man, Zac Efron. And I would have never considered that before in my life. This is the best acting that I've seen Zac Efron ever do. I'm not a big fan of his movies. Having watched his Netflix television show, the one where he talks about environmentalism, season 1 and 2, kind of get to see him as a person and not just the characters that he plays in his movies. I have kind of become a fan of him, and watching this movie only cements that he does have the acting chops, and he deserves, at the very least, a nomination, if not to win the Academy Awards for Best Actor. Of course, there's many movies still yet to come for 2024 movie season, but right now, and I still would say later on, that my money is on Zac Efron, based on this role in The Iron Claw. You definitely want to see this movie. It's a chilling tale, unfortunately a true tale of like I said, pressure, family demands, abuse, psychological and physical, in the fact that, it is it's like, well, they're doing athletics, sports, wrestling, yes, but their father pushes them towards such an extreme that he doesn't, there's no mention that he was actually physically abusive, but to make them do so many drills in the ring and such, well beyond, expectations, just for to attempt to reach his level of what he perceived perfection for his family, is definitely physical abuse on that level, and of course the mental, emotional abuse that he did all through their lives growing up. and not allowing them to have or be their own people. Again, only Kevin escaped, Zac Efron's character, due to finding a wonderful supporting woman that is able to assist him before the curse of the Von Erichs fall upon him that touched all the other brothers. All right, well, again, a strong Shaka thumbs up. I can't recommend this movie to you enough. Like I said, if you are a fan of sport movies, of underdog tales, you know, if you liked, you know, any recent sports movie, any recent show and or loved wrestling, whether it be earlier back in the 70s or 80s, or even still today, you'll love this movie and should definitely check it out. There's something for this and for everyone, and it's an emotional tale that many people in America need to hear, because it is focused on that trauma, that abuse, and you know how to deal with it instead of ignoring it as as the male stereotype would have you attempt to do, only to amplify it and turn it inward, causing unfortunately death and destruction, if not more, to yourself and your family. So there's a definite tale to be told in this, both a warning and a means of escaping the fate of the Von Erichsons within this movie, that you, your children, your family, would need to know, would want to know. It's an important tale, and it's a good movie. And again, Zac Efron, as well as everyone else in this movie, does an incredible, moving job and performance, and I highly recommend it. Again, Shaka thumbs up for The Iron Claw. Go ahead and see it, however, whenever you can. Merry Christmas, mahalo, and aloha.